One time I was in culinary school and someone did hit and they cut right here and the blood was spraying out. So I would just grip the handle of the knife and then I want to create a 20-degree angle as much as I can, right? You don't have to be perfect. When you look at a serrated knife up close, you see the back side of it is totally clean. But if you go to the other side of it, you'll see the divots within the knife. So just run it through about 5-6 times, maybe even 10 times, that's fine. And then wipe it. Wow. Go through. I mean, you could just I'm not even touching it and it's just going down. You look good, bud. Have you liked? Have you subscribed? Please do. I'm trying to grow our channel. I promise you there's some really cool stuff. I would be so thankful. Thank you. Today, we're gonna do a few things. I got a ton of freaking knives. I'm about to show you. You see a bunch of knives there, but I go through quite a bit of knives and I wanted you to see this. So this is going to be loud, I promise you. That was probably borderline dangerous to do, but we got a lot of knives. Rob, do you think we have a lot of knives? This is a steel. It hones your knife, okay? And you can use it 3 different ways, and the most important thing is a 20-degree angle. So in culinary school, they teach you to go the heel of the knife down to the tip. So I want 20-degree angle. So I'm looking at that. I think that's 20. Down, okay? Heel to the tip. It's all wrist action. This is why this is here, is to prevent you going down and hitting. Well, one time I was in culinary school and someone did hit and they cut right here and the blood was spraying out. And so this is here for a reason. But because of that, after I saw it and it was traumatizing, I'm like, I'd like to learn some other ways to sharpen the knives. So here's a few others. So another one is 20-degree angle, heel to tip this way. Okay, still wrist action, okay? Then one of my favorites is this way, because then you can really line up and make sure you're getting that 20-degree angle, which I'm sure Rob can kind of see. Are we at that 20-degree angle? So still the heel to the tip of the knife, and I'm still using my wrist action to go through. Now, what does a steel do? Nothing but take away some of the bits and pieces and little divots in the knife, and also the knife blade over time will either lean this way or that way, and so all it does is straighten that knife blade. So like if you looked at a microscope, you would see that it would be going different ways just because over time it does that. Now, if you properly used a knife and you used your steel every time you do a production, like, you know, when you chop an orange, then wipe your blade, right? And I'm saying, let's say like maybe a few oranges, then do the steel. And all you need to do is like that, right there. Now, the steel does not take off any metal off of your knife. It only straightens it. Now, what does take off the metal is called a diamond steel. Why is it called a diamond steel? Because there actually is ground up diamonds that are in this metal. And the reason for that is that diamond is the only thing that can actually take off and sharpen the edge. And so when you're using diamond steel, and by the way, promo here for Wilderness Cooking, one of my favorite YouTubers from Azerbaijan, which is next to Turkey and Armenia. He does the most amazing cooking outside, and he doesn't talk, which is pretty cool. I could learn from that. But anyways, the diamond steel, same thing. So same 20-degree angle, and there is a skinny side and a flat side. Honestly, doesn't matter. I would say that you can put more pressure on the skinny side versus the flat side, and it covers more surface area this way. So same thing, 20-degree angle. Okay, I could do it this way, which I pretty much stay away from. The only reason they do this in culinary school is because there's like 40 people in the kitchen and you have like one little tiny space and you want to make sure that you're not like bumping into people. And so like doing this kind of stuff might be dangerous, but this is so you're just kind of in your little cutting board area. Now, if I wipe this, I'm going to actually see some metal. I don't know if you can zoom in on that, but you can see right there that there is metal from that knife. Now, when I do it with the steel, nothing. There you can see, nothing. how to sharpen all these knives, because this is really an important part. So you could take it to a professional sharpener to sharpen these knives, but I'm gonna tell you it's probably gonna be like $25 to $50 per knife. So you can see that this would be hundreds of dollars to sharpen my knives. Now, this is one of my recent knives that I got, another wilderness cooking knife. It's pretty sharp. If you have a sharp knife and you hone it after every production, you really won't ever have to even sharpen your knife because you'll keep that blade nice and straight. Like maybe every year or two. That's the interesting thing. But if you don't hone your knife, then you will have to professionally sharpen it. This is actually a whetstone. So I actually bought it from Amazon. I was looking for some different stones. I have a tri-stone at home that I've tried. I've never used a whetstone. So we're gonna learn here together. I watched a couple things on YouTube, kind of feel comfortable about it. This is from Cuisine Beats. I bought it because it was cost effective on Amazon. I think this whole thing was 30 bucks. And it's kind of cool how it's put together. So it has a wooden base right here that's really nice. And notice I put a damp towel down because as I was starting to do it, it was sliding. And this is one way to prevent it from sliding. And you'll see that I also did it underneath here. I put a little damp towel. So that my cutting board doesn't move around. Those are really important steps, but it's got a wooden base, then it has a rubber fastener that goes into this wooden base bamboo thing, and you always want to start first with the highest number. So you can see here, it's got 6,000 and 1,000. So the 6,000 is a coarser grade that's gonna help take off more of the knife. So then I'm setting it in. And then the most important part to a whetstone is you have to soak it for 15 minutes to 30 minutes in water. And then you also need some water, right, to keep the stone damp because that helps with keeping it actually sharp. Secondary stone that's like a smoothing stone that you use before you do the whetstone to smooth out the stone, right, to give it even. So you just give it a little press like that so that it's even, then definitely give it the spray, okay? And then this could be nice for somebody that's maybe feels uncomfortable about sharpening their blade and they want to start out with it. So essentially what you do is you put it on the back of your knife, right? It holds it in place. And the reason for that is it creates that perfect 20-degree angle. And the way that you do the whetstone generally is you start with the heel and then in this case, I want this to be on the stone so it keeps it in place. And I'm gonna slide back this way all the way to the tip and it creates that perfect 20-degree angle. So if I do it again, I'm gonna do probably like 3 times. Now let's see if it took off some metal there. So the whetstone didn't yet. Now what it does do, here's what's interesting, is the metal actually ends up on the whetstone. Now I remember. And it creates like a little sludge of your metal. So you can see, if you zero in on that, you can see the metal on the whetstone. So it's a little bit different. So let's keep our spray going. And then let's try now this way, okay? And I'm gonna show you the other version that I like here in a second. So notice I'm doing the 20-degree angle. Now, tri-stone would be very much like a whetstone, only it would have 3 sides. And you always start out with the most ground version, and then you flip it and go to the medium and then the fine. And so this one only has 2, so we'll just go with that. So what I like to do is I like to make sure that it's sturdy, right, in place, not going anywhere. And then I like to put my hand here on the blade. Normally you hold a knife like you're shaking someone's hand with your thumb and your pointer. This is how you hold a knife because it's very steady, right? Like if I'm going like this, it's not very steady. So if I hold like I'm shaking a hand, it's extremely steady. And that's how you properly hold a knife. Now when you're sharpening a knife, it's a different story. So I would just grip the handle of the knife, and then I want to create a 20-degree angle as much as I can, right? You don't have to be perfect. And then I put pressure here, and then I slide this way like this, and I move my body. Now notice how I'm moving my body. And the reason for that is I can maintain pressure all the way through and go like this. Now, I had a chef show me this, a couple chefs, and that's how they did it, and I really liked the vibe of that. It felt really good and clean. So now if I'm switching this way, same thing, right? I wanna do that 20-degree angle. I'm going through it, and I'm gonna turn it so you can see. I'm seeing the metal come off of this. Look at that. And then I'll wipe it every once in a while, right? And then it is a whetstone, so you do want to make sure that it's wet. Let me just go through one full motion of how I would sharpen the knife, and then I'm gonna talk through some of the elements. Then I flip it. Then I spray it. Rub it, then I wipe the blade. And notice how I'm wiping like this? Don't do that. Wipe this way, away from you, okay? I should do that too. So then, now it's the coarser grade. Okay, wipe. The metal's coming off. Then, steel, 20. Okay, wipe it again. That diamond steel. Now steel. Sometimes I turn this, like as you're doing it, you might feel like, oh, it's not really, I don't think it's straightening. There's little divots in here, and getting on that helps to hone it better. Okay, then I give it one last little wipe through. Then we take tray. And we just gently, wow. Go through. I mean, you could just like, I'm not even touching it and it's just going down. Sorry, Trey. Hey, at least I cut Trey out like really nicely. You look good, bud. And now let's do a couple other different knives so you can see some differences here. I've got boning knives. I've got paring knives. I've got some of my favorite steak knives at home that I use. These knives are called the Sendoku knives, and why they're really cool is they have that divot right there, as you can see those divots, so these became really popular. The reason for that is food doesn't stick to it. So if you don't have a Sendoku knife, highly recommend. Generally they're 6 to 8 inches. I don't really care what kind of brand, but one of the unique parts about a Sendoku knife is the width of the blade is almost very even in size. Like when you think of like, here's a chef's knife, right? You can see it goes from fat to skinny, whereas a Sendoku stays pretty consistent throughout. So let's start with the serrated knife. So when you look at a serrated knife up close, you see the back side of it is totally clean. But if you go to the other side of it, you'll see the divots within the knife. Now, some chefs, you can sharpen the blade, like literally go like this with a steel on each divot. So you can do this. You could do it with the diamond, and you could do it with the steel. So this does sharpen the blade. When you're sharpening the serrated, same thing, 20 degree with the divots up. I'm gonna go through and do that 20 degree, okay? Now, I'm not gonna do the other side because I can't do it. I'm not gonna be able to get it sharp. So just run it through about 5, 6 times, maybe even 10 times, that's fine. And then wipe it, then diamond steel. By the way, diamond steel, you can buy this on Amazon for like 15 bucks. 20 degree angle, right? I just keep rocking it, just like that. Wipe it. You can see a lot of metal on that right there. Then steel. And then let's see how we do with, a lot of times you can use an apple. Sometimes I'll cut an apple with a serrated knife. That's nice. It was so much duller than that. So you can use a serrated knife on fruit. Obviously for bread and stuff like that, it's way better. But what I do like about the serrated like this is you can get like super fine, more so than like a chef knife. Like for like a fan like this, you saw me do, how many cuts was that on the knife? But look at this, it's like a freaking deck of cards. Like that is just incredible. What's cool about it is you can fan it just like a deck of cards, and because you use that serrated knife, it like all sticks together. Have you liked? Have you subscribed? Please do. I'm trying to grow our channel. I promise you there's some really cool stuff. I would be so thankful. Thank you.